calorie deficit, calorie deficit. You have to eat in a calorie deficit. But seriously, what does that even mean? And more importantly, how are you supposed to eat in one sustainably without feeling overly restricted or constantly obsessing over calories? In this video, I'm going to be breaking it down simply. You'll walk away understanding exactly what a calorie deficit even is, how to calculate one for yourself, and most importantly, how to eat in one sustainably using my 4-meal framework that will allow you to feel full, satisfied, not overly hungry, not constantly thinking about food, and will make fat loss way less stressful. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Kelsey Wiebe. I'm a NASM certified nutrition coach, personal trainer, and founder of Rediscover You, an online coaching program that empowers ambitious women to go from feeling out of control or obsessively thinking about food and their weight to finally feeling at peace in their body, confident in who they are, and free with food so that they can become the healthiest version of themselves and fully enjoy their life. If that sounds like you, feel free to hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. First, what even is a calorie deficit? A calorie deficit is when we are consuming less calories than we are burning. It's energy balance. And unlike what you may hear on social media, there is no magical diet or magical food that you should or shouldn't be eating that is going to help you lose weight. If you are intermittent fasting and you're losing weight, it's simply because you are eating less calories because you have a more time restricted window that you're eating. If you're cutting carbs, it's not the carbs that are causing you to lose weight. It's the fact that you're eating less food overall. It's calories. I don't care who you are, you do not beat the laws of thermodynamics. So let's talk about if you are maintaining your weight, it is because your calories out match your calories in. And if we want to lose weight, then we need to simple, not easy, we need to have our calories out be more than our calories in. Now, the problem is if you don't know what a calorie deficit is for you, we'll often end up drastically cutting our calories. We think that in order to lose weight, we need to cut out our favorite foods, that we need to eat as little as possible, which is completely unsustainable. Sometimes we'll be able to do it for a couple of days, but then we're not able to hold on to it. We end up binging on the weekend or at night, whatever else. And so that's often why we get stuck in this kind of yo-yoing when it comes to calories. But let's dive into what these actual numbers mean. I'll talk about calories in and how to do this sustainably towards the end of the video, but let's first understand what calories out actually means. This is your metabolism. I want you to think of this box as your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure. What does that mean? That is the amount of calories you burn in a 24-hour period. And oftentimes we think that whatever we eat, we need to burn off with exercise, that's how the energy balance works, but it's not. Here's how total daily energy expenditure actually works. The majority of your metabolism, about 70%, is actually made up of your BMR. Your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. Your basal metabolic rate is the amount of calories you would need just to survive. If you were in a coma, this is how many calories you would need. If you were doing nothing, it's because it takes calories for you to live, for your brain to function, your organs to function, your body to regulate its temperature, your hormones, all of it. It takes energy for you to stay alive. And that's the majority of your total daily energy expenditure. Next, where you have a lot of power, 15 to 20%, we'll put this in red so you understand just how much you have power over it. NEAT is our non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is how many calories you burn just moving, fidgeting, going for that walk, taking the stairs, parking further away when you're at the grocery store. This is just overall movement. You may find if you've ever had a coworker that never seems to put on weight, take a look at them. They're probably always fidgeting in some way, shape, or form. And this is also where we end up struggling, especially as we're adults. We end up sitting at our computers all day long. We're in an office job. We're sitting on the train. We're in our car. We're not moving as much. So this is where you can have a massive impact just moving more throughout the day. Next, our TEF. Now, TEF is our thermic effect of food. This is how many calories you burn simply eating food. And there are certain foods that you can eat that are going to raise your metabolic rate, right? So if we have protein, that will raise our metabolic rate up to 20 to 30%. Meaning if I eat 100 calories of protein, I'm actually only going to absorb 70 to 80 of those 100 calories because it took 20 to 30 calories to actually digest and absorb it. Protein also is it helps us repair our muscles. It's the building blocks of life. It's really important, helps us stay fuller longer. Other things, we've got carbs. Carbs are about 5 to 10%. If you eat more fiber, that's also going to be super helpful. Think about it. If it's not as processed, your body is then going to have to use energy to digest and absorb it. If it's a really processed carbohydrate, then you've already done it. It doesn't need to work so hard to digest and absorb it. So think about it that way. Last but not least, we've got fat. Fat is about 0 to 3%. It doesn't take that much energy to digest fat. But last but not least is we'll try it with green. I don't know if you'll see this, but EAT. EAT. This is your exercise activity thermogenesis. Exercise activity thermogenesis, this is how many calories you burn in your workout class, your boot camp, you're at F45, CrossFit, you're lifting weights, you're doing Stairmaster, whatever it is, structured exercise. And what I want you to take away from this, so TEF is about 10%, EAT is about 5%. This is the smallest piece. And again, I want you to think about, so many of us think, I ate this, so now I need to burn it off. But I want you to think about this in full perspective. If you're going to a workout class or you're going for a run, that's maybe 1 hour of your full day, of your 24 hours in a day. Maybe you go to one class 5 days a week. That's 5 hours out of 168 hours of the whole week. And here's the problem is sometimes we will smash ourselves in a workout, but then we'll totally disregard our steps throughout the day. We're exhausted from our workout that we just end up slouching on the couch. We take the elevator. We're just not moving as much. And oftentimes too, we'll end up overcompensating, thinking that we burned more calories than we actually did. And we end up overeating it as a way of compensating or going back and forth. So anyway, just to kind of put it there, again, this is our calories out. This is how many calories you burn in a 24-hour period. Now let's talk about how to calculate your total daily energy expenditure based on your height, your weight, your age, and your activity level. Okay, so in order to calculate our total daily energy expenditure, we're going to be using our Mifflin-St. Jeor equation. Something to note, this is just an estimation. In no way, shape, or form is this perfect and exactly what you should be hitting, but it gives us a place to kind of start. Now, we're first going to start with your BMR. Remember, your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. Then we're going to calculate your total daily energy expenditure by multiplying this by your activity level. But let's start with the BMR first. Your BMR, now it's different if you're a male or female. It's going to be based on your weight in kilograms, your height in centimeters, and your age in years. The difference between the two equations, if you're male or female, you're going to add 5 if you're male, and you're going to subtract 161 if you're female. This more so has to do with how much muscle men and women tend to have. Remember, muscle is more metabolically active. This equation does not account for how much lean muscle you have on your body, but again, it's an estimation. So for example, let's just run through the equation with one of my clients that I have. She's approximately 65.8 kilograms at the moment. She's about 5'8", which we're going to calculate as about 173 in centimeters. And right now she is 61 years old. So putting it right here. Now I've already done this calculation, but right now her BMR, we would calculate this as about 1,1273 calories per day. All right. Again, this is her BMR. Her BMR. This is how many calories she needs to eat in order to survive. If she was in a coma, this is how many calories her body needs. Okay. So that's just that first section. Now let's see what her approximate total daily energy expenditure is based on her activity level. Okay, so now based on her activity level, we're going to multiply her BMR, which remember, her BMR from our last equation is 1,273 calories. Again, approximation. That's how many calories she needs to survive. Now we're going to multiply that based on her activity level. Again, this is an estimate. Now, if she's sedentary, we're going to say that it's times 1.2. What is sedentary? That's a desk job, little to no exercise. If lightly active, that would be times 1.375. That's if she's doing exercise 1 to 3 days per week. Moderately active, that'd be if she's doing exercise 3 to 5 days per week. Very active is she's doing 6 to 7 days per week. And here she would be doing 2 times per day. Extra active, 2 times per day. She's extremely active. It's a whole thing. So for her in particular, I would say that we're going to do both of these options because she does 4 times strength training. All right. So she does 4 times per week strength training, which is awesome. Love it. But that doesn't necessarily equate for her steps. I promise you the amount of steps and just general movement throughout the entire day, not just in 1 hour, class, is what's going to equate for more calories that you have like flexibility with. We're just going to base this off of her strength training for right now. So based on this, let's say she's doing in between lightly active and moderately active. Let's just get both those numbers. So this one would be 1,750 calories per day would be her TDEE. And this one would be 1973 calories per day. All right. She's probably somewhere in the middle. Like if I were to safely bet, I'd probably say she's somewhere at like 1850. All right, so let's just say approximately 1850 calories per day. This is her TDEE. I'm not saying that that's how many calories, this isn't a calorie deficit. This is her maintenance calories, right? This is her TDEE. This is the total daily energy expenditure, the approximate of how many calories she's burning in a day. Now we're going to take that and calculate that based on the type of deficit we want her to have. Let's go into that one next. Okay, so again, here we are, her estimated total daily energy expenditure. We took her BMR times 2 different options for the activity level and kind of gave an average. This is her estimated total daily energy expenditure, how many calories she would need to maintain her current weight. If we want to lose weight, then we're going to want to go into some form of a deficit. Now, if that's a 10% deficit, which is usually what I would say, because I'd like you to be closer to maintenance so that we can make sure we don't have too much hunger, so we can make sure that we're refueling and actually preserving as much muscle tissue as possible. But regardless, that would be about 1665. If she were to do a 15% deficit, so a little bit more, that would be about 1575 calories per day. And if she were to do a 20% deficit, so a little bit stronger, it would be about 1480 calories per day. So for this client, if she wanted to lose weight, I would recommend that she have a calorie range. Again, it's not about hitting a perfect number every single day. And I want you to zoom out and think about this from a week perspective. Say you're doing 1,200 calories Monday through Thursday, but then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're hitting 3,000 to 5,000 calories each day. It doesn't matter. From the week perspective, you're at maintenance or even possibly at a surplus. All right. So I want her to be close to maintenance so we're not getting overly hungry, so we can keep energy levels, hormones balanced, all the things. So for this client, I recommend that she have a calorie target range somewhere around 1,600 to 1,700 calories per day. And the reason is I'd rather her focus on upping her steps a little bit and making sure that she's fueling herself enough that she's able to really show up for her workouts. Now, beyond just focusing on calories, we would also make sure that she's really focusing on upping her protein and fiber, because it's A, going to help her stay fuller longer. B, it's going to help her actually rebuild her muscle and have more muscle on her body, which means she's going to have a higher metabolism. She's going to be more metabolically active. And C, it's going to actually, again, help her metabolism because it's going to take more energy to digest and absorb protein and fiber. And by the way, if you'd like a whole list of high fiber and high protein foods, as well as my go-to favorite recipes for breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner, be sure to click the link down below to get your free nutrition cheat sheet. Breaks it all down for you, and you'll also get 7 days of my favorite meal prep tips. So go ahead and download that for free. And now that we have an idea of what her calorie deficit may look like, let's talk about how she can eat in this calorie deficit sustainably without having to obsess about every single calorie or tracking everything constantly. Okay, so for a quick review, right now for this client, her TDEE, these are estimations, would be about 1,850. That's to maintain her weight. Her deficit that I would recommend is about 1,600 to 1,700 per day. Hello, Editing Kelsey here, and I just wanted to quickly add something in before we get into our 4-meal framework. So in order to confirm that we're actually in a caloric deficit, it's going to come down to us measuring our weight on a daily basis to see what the trend is overall. Remember, we're not expecting to lose weight daily. It's the trend overall, really kind of looking at it from an average per week. So what I recommend for my clients is A, to make sure that you have a healthy relationship with the scale and understanding that the number is neutral, that it doesn't define you, your worth, or anything. It doesn't mean you're a failure or that anything's wrong. It is just a number, and it's only one data point. There are lots of reasons that our daily and throughout the day, our weight may fluctuate. An average adult will fluctuate somewhere between 1 to 5 pounds in a day. So make sure when you're doing this that you're keeping it like you're a scientist, and you're doing it at around the same time when you first wake up in the morning with little to no clothing, after using the bathroom, and before eating or drinking anything. That way we can keep the parameters the same and make sure you're using the same scale. All of those things are really, really important. You're going to write down your weight every single day, and you do not take your weight more than that one time. There's no reason to, right? We're just using this as data. Remember that we don't lose weight linearly. We don't lose it all at once. And a sustainable rate of weight loss would be 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight per week. So to put in that perspective, if you were 200 pounds, that would mean that losing 1 pound to maybe max 2 pounds a week is amazing. And this is why we would take our weight every day at around the same time consistently, and then we would take the average for the week and compare that average to the next week. The reason I'm bringing this up is I do just want you to recognize, like, these are estimations, and it's going to come down to you and what's happening over time for us to actually confirm if this is a caloric deficit for you or if you're maintaining your weight. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, if you're struggling with that relationship with the scale, if anytime you step on the scale, it ends up making you spiral or beat yourself up or over restrict, overreact, These are things that I work with specifically with my clients. I promise you can get to a place where it's not something that's super scary or something that you need to avoid or that has control over you. But anyway, hope that's helpful. And let's get back into it. Now, another thing to note is how important protein is. I would recommend 1.7 times kilogram of body weight. So for her at about 66, 1.7, that would mean I want her to have, for protein per day, I want her to have about 112 grams per day. And lastly, when it comes to fiber, we really want to make sure that she's prioritizing this in each of her meals. Again, it'll help her stay full and satisfied. It's also going to, more often than not, it's higher in volume, lower in calories, and it's also going to help keep energy levels nice and stable. It's going to help her digestion. The daily recommended for women is 25 grams per day. If she can get more than that, awesome. But for right now, we'll just keep it as that. Fiber equals 25 grams per day. All right, so here are our numbers. We've got 1,600 to 1,700. We've got 112 and 25. Now, the way that I want her to think about this is the 4-meal framework, all right? 4 meals. I want as much as possible to have breakfast, lunch, an intentional afternoon snack between lunch and dinner. I cannot recommend this enough. If you struggle, especially with overeating at night or eating all the ingredients when you're cooking dinner or coming home being hangry and just raiding the pantry, I promise you having an intentional stack that is planned between lunch and dinner will massively change your life, okay? So thinking about this, we've got meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, meal 4, all right? They can be the same thing. It doesn't matter. The more that you can have meals that you enjoy on repeat, the easier this process will be. By the way, that nutrition cheat sheet that I was talking about, it also has the calories, grams of protein, and grams of fiber per serving listed in the Excel sheet to help make this even easier. Let's just say that we want to take her to about 1,600 calories, and we're going to give her 100 calories extra in case she wants to have a piece of chocolate or she wants to have a coffee, right? If she's getting a flat white, that's about 100 calories, whatever else. So if each of these, just for easy math right now, we're about 400 calories each. All right. Now, obviously you can change this. Maybe she has a 200 calorie snack and she has a 600 calorie dinner. Play around with it. It's fine. But just for easy math right now, let's say 400 calories each. And then when it comes to protein, let's think about this. 112 divided by 4 is 28. So if we can, we want to aim for 25 grams plus of protein for each of these meals. So 25 grams plus 25. Again, I have recipes in there that are 40, 50 grams of protein in one meal. That's totally fine. But just so you can kind of understand the easy math. And then if each of these have about 6 grams or more of fiber, right? Again, you could front load this. I've got an overnight oatmeal that you can have that has 14 grams of fiber in one serving. There's an egg toast thing, an egg spread that if you do it on wholemeal toast, it has 11 grams of fiber on it. Avocado, take a look at the list. But regardless, if she does this, and if she times her meals, that she has this at, say, 8 a.m., and then she has lunch at 11 a.m., and then she has her other meal at 2 p.m., and then she has dinner at, let's just say, 6 p.m., whatever else. If she times it like this, right, she's going to be eating about every 3 to 4 hours. She's going to feel full, satisfied. She's getting protein. She's getting fiber. She's getting everything she needs. And it's easy for things to kind of move around. As long as she's focused on not letting BLTs, bites, licks, tastes, that's what can kill our deficit. As long as she's focused on only eating these meals and making them big enough and high enough in protein, fiber, and healthy fat, the hunger crushing combo, right? As long as she has these things covered, she'll be good to go. So that is the framework. Having 4 meals a day, about every 3 to 4 hours, having a big enough meal that keeps you full and satisfied so you're not thinking about food for the next 3 to 4 hours, making sure that you're not drinking beverages that are going to add calories, that can be a killer as well. Making sure that when you're having these meals, that they're kind of within these ranges of calories and protein. And the thing that we probably need to be the most aware of are sauces and any sort of oils or butter, anything that we're cooking it in, because fats are actually where we end up getting the most amount of calories. It's 9 calories per gram. Anyway, I know this is a ton of information. If you would like to be able, again, check out that nutrition cheat sheet with all of my lists of recipes and high protein, high fiber foods. If you would like to be able to have a one-on-one session with me where we can sit down, help you calculate these numbers for yourself, and create a personalized action plan for you that will help you with whatever fitness goals you have, and do it in a way that is sustainable, do it in a way that doesn't make you obsess over food, help you enjoy your favorite foods, help you go out on social events, all of the things, feel free, book in a free breakthrough session with me. We can sit down one-on-one and really help you get to where you want to be. Other than that, guys, I will let you go. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like button, share this with someone else that you think may benefit. And until next time, may you be happy, healthy, and fulfilled. Mwah.